You may think you're drinking a glass of water, But what if I told you that liquid has been to space and back more than once? Yes, the water you're holding right now may have passed through comets, oceans, lava fields, the bellies of dinosaurs, and even the lungs of ancient kings. This is not just water, this is memory in liquid form. It has flowed across time, across empires, across the bones of dead civilizations, and it now sits silently in your glass. 13.8 billion years ago, the universe was born in an explosion of silence and fury. From that chaos, particles emerged, then plasma, then atoms. Hydrogen, the first element, light and wild, floated freely in the nothingness. Over millions of years, gravity began to shape dust and fire into galaxies. Stars were born, burned, and collapsed in death. And from their final breath, water was born. Inside the fiery deaths of massive stars, hydrogen fused with oxygen to form HOO. These newborn water molecules scattered across space, clinging to specks of dust, frozen in the bellies of comets. These comets became frozen messengers, carrying the possibility of life wherever they roamed. 4.6 billion years ago, Earth was a newborn fury of flame and stone. Its sky burned red. Volcanoes choked the air with smoke. Its surface was oceans of lava, and from the darkness of space, comets came crashing down. Each impact was violent, loud, and divine. Each one delivered frozen water. The icy hearts of comets melted on impact. Steam rose, vapor became clouds, and then, rain. Rain for days, rain for decades. Rain for centuries. It didn't stop. Rain cooled the Earth's rage. It filled basins. It softened stone. It turned a planet afire into a world of blue. Water had arrived, not as a visitor, but as a sculptor. It carved mountains, created valleys, flooded basins. It cut through rock like silk. And beneath the surface, something stirred. In the oceans warmed by volcanic heat, molecules began to dance. Amino acids collided. Life blinked into existence. Water was not the cause of life. It was the cradle. Without it, life would never have stood a chance. Time passed. Simple bacteria evolved. Creatures crawled from the sea. But no matter how they changed, one thing remained. Water was always there. It was their sky, their breath, their blood. Then came the age of dinosaurs. They drank from its lakes. They died in its rivers. Their bones sank into muddy waters and fossilized beneath it, and still, water moved forward. Then humans rose. We feared the drought. We worshipped the rain. We built our lives around rivers. The Nile, the Tigris, the Indus, these were not just rivers. They were gods in motion. Without the Nile, Egypt would not exist. Without the Tigris and Euphrates, Babylon would be dust. Water wasn't just life. It was power. Kings declared wars over it, prophets crossed deserts in search of it, empires rose and fell by its flow. And yet, we never fully understood it. Water watched everything. It flowed beneath Cleopatra's ships on the Nile. It filled Roman aqueducts while emperors soaked in it. It was poured for pharaohs. It shimmered in palace fountains. It fell as tears in moments of love and loss. Water remembers. It may change form, become ice, or vapor, or fog, but it always returns. Maybe the same water that carried Moses through the Red Sea is the one that now fills your glass. Today, millions of years later, you turn on the tap. And water, the traveler of stars, of empires, of species, flows into your cup. It passes through pipes and filters, but it is not tamed. You can't tame a memory. You can only borrow it. So next time you drink a glass of water, remember this: you're not just quenching your thirst, you're tasting the universe. Asterisk somewhere, deep within the earth, water flows in darkness. Not all of it is visible. Beneath the deserts, beneath the mountains, beneath cities and forests, ancient aquifers lie hidden, silent oceans, trapped underground for thousands, sometimes millions, of years. This water has not felt sunlight since before humanity was born. It whispers through rock, moving in slow currents, shaped not by wind or gravity, but by time itself. You may drink it from a bottle labeled spring water, but what you are actually tasting is history. In the caves of Slovenia, in the deserts of Saudi Arabia, and in the fossil aquifers beneath the Sahara, this water remains untouched by pollution, by war, by human hands. It is older than language, older than religion, older than memory. And yet, we dig for it. We pull it from the ground, siphon it into pipelines, bottle it, sell it, consume it. We treat it as a product. But what if we're drinking the tears of ancient Earth? Think of it. The water that fills your coffee cup may have first formed as vapor above a Triassic sea. It may have fallen as rain onto the back of a brontosaurus. It may have evaporated and been trapped for 200 million years in stone. It is not just what you drink, it is where you come from. Every cell in your body is mostly water. The blood in your veins, the air in your lungs, the thoughts that pass through your brain, none of them are possible without it. But we do not respect it, we pollute it. We poison rivers, we dam streams, we overuse it, assuming it will always be there. But water has limits. Across the world, lakes are shrinking. The Oral Sea, once the fourth largest lake on Earth, is now a dry basin, a ghost of its former self. The Dead Sea is dying faster than we can document. Rivers that once nurtured cities now flow with trash and sewage. And yet, we build more fountains. We wash our cars. We let taps run for minutes while we scroll through screens. We think water is infinite. It is not. In Yemen, families fight over buckets of it. In parts of India, women walk miles each day to reach a single well. In Cape Town, people count their daily liters like coins. And still the rains fall, sometimes too much, sometimes not enough. Floods and droughts, both delivered by the same hand. Water does not obey us. It never has. When it's gentle, we praise it. When it's fierce, we fear it, but it is not good or evil. It simply is. It is the bloodstream of the planet. It cycles through clouds, through rivers, through plants, and people. It moves without rest, without preference, and sometimes, it remembers. There are tribes in the Amazon that say the river has a soul, that when you step into it, it watches you, judges you, weighs your heart. There are monks in Tibet who believe that water holds energy, that chanting over it can transform it. And there are scientists who have photographed frozen crystals of water and seen how they change shape when exposed to music, or prayer, or hate. What if they're right? What if water listens? What if every insult, every blessing, every song sung in the shower is being recorded not in sound, but in structure? What if your words ripple through it, changing you? Then perhaps water is more than just a molecule. Perhaps it is alive, not with breath, but with presence, not with thought, but with purpose. It exists to move, to shape, to connect. And it is everywhere. In the fruit you eat, in the breath you exhale, in the tears you hide. It is the great equalizer. The king and the beggar drink the same water. The soldier and the child bleed the same liquid. The rain does not choose where it falls, and that is enough. But what if, one day, it stops? What if the rivers dry? What if the glaciers melt and the oceans rise, swallowing our cities, our stories, our statues? What if we looked up, and the clouds were gone? Then maybe, for the first time, we would understand. Water was never ours. It was never a right. It was always a gift. And we were simply guests. Guests who forgot to say thank you. So say it now, before the cup runs dry. The story of water doesn't end with history. It lives in every present moment, flowing silently through the arteries of modern life. But you don't see it, not really. You see the tap. You see the bottle. You see the price tag. But you don't see the journey. You don't see the mountains it passed, the hands it touched, the pain it carried. You don't see the system beneath your feet, the invisible empire that moves water across cities, nations, and lives. Every drop you use has been engineered to arrive. In cities, water travels hundreds of miles through aqueducts, pipelines, pumps, and tunnels. It crosses deserts. It climbs mountains. It fights gravity. It is treated, tested, filtered, stored. But it is never new. It is never pure. It is always borrowed. That water in your sink might have once flowed through a battlefield in France. It might have run beneath the streets of ancient Persia. It might have sat in the roots of an olive tree in Jerusalem. And now, it's here, waiting. We live in a time where water is a commodity, sold, taxed, privatized. Some corporations own rivers. Others own access to rain. There are wars, not just over land or oil, but over wells, lakes, and aquifers. Water has become currency, and in some places, it is more valuable than gold. In the highlands of Peru, entire communities rely on glaciers that are melting faster than ever before. In California, farms suck up vast quantities of water, leaving neighboring towns with dry taps. In sub-Saharan Africa, children skip school to carry water jugs instead of books. It is the same pattern, repeated across time. Those with power control water. Those without must chase it. And yet, we waste it. We leak it. we pour it down drains, as if it means nothing. Have you ever thought about what it takes for water to reach you? The energy, the labor, the risk. In conflict zones, water systems are bombed. In refugee camps, it must be rationed. In hospitals, clean water is the difference between life and death. And still, we wash our driveways. We flush clean water down toilets. We water lawns in the middle of the day. We forget that luxury is not normal. We forget that some people will die today because they drank dirty water, not poisoned water, just dirty water, and that's enough. So what now? What do we do with this knowledge? Do we turn off the tap and hope that's enough? Do we donate a few dollars to a water charity and feel absolved? Or do we change how we see water forever? Because that's where it starts, not with guilt, with gratitude. Gratitude is the first ripple. When you're grateful for water, you treat it differently. You savor it, you protect it, you teach your children that it matters. You remind yourself that this invisible gift has a cost, a history, a story. You see more than a glass. You see a miracle, and from that miracle, responsibility is born. Responsibility to conserve, to educate, to fight for those who have none. Because clean water should not be a privilege, it should be a promise we make to one another, to every farmer, to every mother, to every child whose hands reach out for a drop of hope. The promise that we will not let this world forget the value of what seems invisible, that we will not wait for drought, for disaster, for death, to remember what was always sacred water, simple, clear, necessary, holy. It flows in silence, but speaks louder than any voice. It connects us, all of us, and maybe that's the lesson. That we are all connected by the rivers we share. The clouds we look up to, the tears we cry, the blood we spill, the oceans we dream of. Maybe water was always the message, and we just needed to listen. Asterisk, there is something haunting about the way water moves. It never resists the path it's given. It flows, bends, adapts. When it hits a wall, it doesn't break, it waits. It finds a crack, seeps through, and continues, patient, relentless. It teaches us something that no book ever could. Strength is not always loud. Power is not always force. Sometimes, the quietest things endure the longest. We live in a world of noise, of screens, of conflict, of speed, but water moves without a sound. It does not announce itself. It simply arrives, changes everything, and moves on. Like time, like truth. Maybe that's why we forget to notice it. Maybe that's why we fail to respect it. There are people today who have never seen clean water, who have only known rivers laced with disease, taps that run dry, and rain that comes too late. And yet, they wait. They walk for hours. They carry gallons on their heads. They pray for clouds. In those places, water is not background, it's the center of life. In those places, every drop is sacred. Contrast that with towering buildings where fountains bubble endlessly in courtyards, where swimming pools glisten in the sun, where gardens are kept green even in the middle of drought. There, water is invisible, expected, entitled. But water doesn't play favorites. It gives to the humble and the proud. It feeds the rose and the weed. It floods the palace and the hut. It drowns the rich and the poor alike. It has no allegiance. It serves no master. It moves by its own rhythm, slow and sure. And when it's gone, it leaves behind silence that screams. History has shown us what happens when water is ignored. The Maya civilization fell when their reservoirs dried. Ancient Mesopotamia crumbled when their rivers shifted. Cities that once thrived turned to dust when the rain stopped coming. Water doesn't just support civilization, it decides its fate. So what about us? What future are we building with our choices today? We poison our lakes with chemicals. We dump our waste into oceans. We treat rivers like sewers, groundwater like bottomless vaults. And still, we're shocked when droughts spread. When wildfires rage. When crops fail. But water warned us, it always does. In cracked soil, in withered leaves, in the absence of birdsong after a dry season, it whispers through the thirst of animals. It cries through the silence of empty wells. But we were too busy to listen. Now, the question isn't whether water will survive us. The question is whether we will survive without it. Because water will always find a way, even when we're gone. It will continue. It will rise through roots, drip through caves, condense in clouds. It will write its poetry on the face of the earth, long after our story ends. And if that doesn't humble us, nothing will. So what can we do? We can begin by honoring it. Not just in crisis, but every day we can change how we build, how we grow, how we waste, We can teach our children that water is not something we use, it's something we share with the earth, with each other. With the future, we can invest in better systems. We can protect our wetlands, we can restore our rivers, we can clean what we've dirtied, and guard what's still pure. Because when we protect water, we protect everything. The air we breathe, the food we eat, the people we love, everything begins with water. And if we forget that, then we forget ourselves. But it's not too late. Water hasn't abandoned us, not yet. It still comes when we call. It still answers with rain. It still forgives. But forgiveness, like water, is not infinite. One day it may run out, so let's act before it does. Let's be worthy of the gift we've been given. Let's remember that every drop is a miracle, and every miracle deserves our care.